she agreed to meet him one last time. A former partner, a familiar face, a conversation that was meant to bring closure. Instead, it became the final chapter of her life. This is Crime Scene Archives. Preethi Reddy was 32 years old, a respected dentist, independent, educated, successful. In March 2019, she traveled to Sydney for a dental conference. Friends described her as driven, kind, and ambitious. But behind the professional success, there was a relationship that had already ended once before. Her former partner, Harshnard, had reportedly struggled with the breakup, and on the night of March 3, 2019, they agreed to meet. CCTV footage captured the pair entering a Sydney CBD apartment building. They were seen together. Got calm. There were no visible signs of conflict. Hours passed. Preethi stopped answering messages. The next morning, she failed to board a scheduled flight. Her family grew concerned. Police were contacted. When officers forced entry into the apartment, they discovered a brutal scene. Preethi had been fatally stabbed. Her former partner was not there. Authorities quickly launched a manhunt. Phone records, vehicle tracking, border alerts. 2 days later, Harshnard was located hundreds of kilometers away, deceased inside his vehicle. Police concluded he had taken his own life. With that, any possibility of a criminal trial ended, but the questions did not. In 2021, a New South Wales coroner delivered formal findings. The conclusion: Preethi Reddy was killed by her former partner. The coroner described the attack as violent and sustained. There were signs of coercive control during the relationship, and concerns had previously been raised about obsessive behavior. But like many domestic homicide cases, the warning signs were clearer in hindsight. In 2024 and into 2025, renewed attention returned to the case, not because of new suspects, not because of a reopened investigation, but because of national conversations around coercive control laws in Australia. Several Australian states have moved to criminalise coercive control patterns of psychological abuse that precede physical violence. Advocates frequently reference cases like Preethi's. When discussing legislative reform, the question being asked in 2025 isn't who did it. That has been legally determined. The question is, could earlier intervention have prevented it? Domestic violence experts often describe escalation phases: isolation, monitoring, emotional manipulation, threats, violence. Friends later told media that the relationship had ended. But breakups can be high-risk periods. Statistically, separation can increase the likelihood of fatal violence in abusive dynamics. And in this case, that final meeting became the most dangerous moment. Like many modern cases, technology played a role in reconstructing events. CCTV confirmed their arrival. Phone data helped track movements. Building access records narrowed timelines, but technology can document violence. It cannot always prevent it. And once the suspect died, the judicial process ended. No cross-examination, no full trial, no sentencing hearing, only findings. When a homicide ends in murder-suicide, families are often left without courtroom closure. No verdict spoken aloud. No jury, no sentencing, just a report. In 2025, Preethi Reddy's name continues to be mentioned in policy discussions about domestic violence reform. Because her story illustrates something uncomfortable, sometimes the warning signs exist, but they are not acted upon in time. She went to a conference, met someone she once trusted, walked into an apartment, and never walked out. There was no masked stranger, no random act. Just a relationship that turned fatal, and a final meeting that should have been the end of a chapter, not the end of her life.